had a multitude of real estate people on that said, could buy the real estate and just like bought Bitcoin with their real estate and said like, I don't want to manage people anymore. I don't want to do that anymore. I just want to have Bitcoin, and discussing about rent increases or like, you have such a great concept and people still don't take you on that. Like it's a
Yeah.
no brainer. If I'm a tenant in your apartment, I'm like, yeah, please lower my rent.
Yeah.
What do I have to do? Like
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
trying to lower my rent. Yeah, like I'm all for it.
Yeah.
With no downside. Like I have all the downside protection that I want, and nothing that's just crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. I've gone back and forth on this in my own head as far as, would I buy real estate? Do I want to sell my real estate and just buy Bitcoin? But I'm right now I'm in the mindset of, I th- I think I can continue providing value to people in the real estate world, in the apartment rental world. And there are a lot of people that just don't understand buildings, right? They don't understand how to maintain a roof on a building, or the siding, or how all of those building systems function together to keep your house in good shape for as long as possible. And I mean, that's visible. You drive down the road and you can see buildings in different states of disrepair, where you see a gutter hanging off, or you see somebody's gutter clogged, and a tree or weeds growing out of people's gutters or their downspouts, or and every time I'm just crazy. When I see that stuff, I just think, oh my gosh, those people are just costing themselves a lot of future money by not keeping that system, that gutter system or that roofing system, maintained currently. But at the same time, people just don't understand that. They're accountants or they're whatever. They're nurses. They don't think about a roofing system on the building. They don't even want to know about it, right? They just want to go on doing their job and whatever. And so I think there will always be a need for people to work on these buildings and operate them. And so I think that's where the value, kind of prospect, future value, can be insured by having people that operate those systems or operate those buildings. And so I I I don't think I think that value exchange looks differently. I've been toying in my mind. I actually worked with an attorney. The University of Wisconsin Law Clinic has like free attorneys that will help draft, whatever the heck you want. And I managed to submit a proposal to them, and they liked the idea, and so they helped me draft a lease where my residents, if once I enact this, they're kind of responsible for the quote unquote like mechanical, interior kind of fixtures in their apartments. And the owner, in this case a nonprofit owner, is responsible for maintaining the rest of the building. So if you come and rent from me, it's it's more or less like it could be your permanent residence. And I know, and people can always choose to move, but you know I don't know about other parts of the world, but in the US, a lot of times, if you want to upgrade your plumbing fixtures, you got to get your landlord's okay. You got to get the owner's okay. If you want to change out a light fixture, you're supposed to, it all has to go through the landlord and be approved by them. Otherwise, you can't make changes to the apartment. And I think we can flip that on its head and say, hey, if you rent and you're paying rent in Bitcoin, it's your apartment. You do with the interior what you want, as long as it's done in a professional manner and it's not going to, burn the place down or flood the place out. You can change that faucet on your kitchen sink if you want it to look differently, or if you're Donald Trump and you want to put gold toilets in your apartment, go right ahead. It's one of those things where on if you punch a hole or fall against your wall and put a hole in it, historically that would be on the landlord to maintain the interior of the building. But I think in on a Bitcoin standard, you can, the resident, whoever's basically in that unit, can fix that and be held responsible to fix that on their own. And yeah, I don't. I'm kind of getting a little off on a tangent here. I haven't fully thought this out 100%, and it's such a change from how historically things have been done that I think it's going to take a while for that to take effect, to take hold, and for people to go, oh yeah, that really is a better way to do it. So
I don't know if I have a controversial opinion on that, but I'm curious on what you think about that. I think on a full Bitcoin standard, most people will own their own homes. They will not have to rent out, and they will make owning a home affordable again. So right now the real estate market is what, 300 trillion, 350 trillion, and there's a lot of monetary premium in them because a lot of
mhm.
people buy apartments just to hold them. They're not passionate landlords like you. You're clearly passionate. You clearly want to provide a great value. Most people are just landlords because they have a home and they're like wanting to make some revenue with that. It seems like you actually are on the opposite side of like wanting to provide a value, which I love. Like this is amazing. I would love for you to come to Vienna, buy some apartments and rent it out to me. I would love to be a tenant of yours. But I think in a true Bitcoin standard world, and we can already see that, you will be able to buy your own home the same way as you will be able to buy your own car and your own phone and your own laptop. And a home doesn't need to be so expensive. So I think Bitcoin will fluck out the absolute enormous monetary premium out of those real estate properties and make them affordable again. And we can already see that. I can bring up the chart. Maybe I can quickly do that. When we go to
Sure.
priced in Bitcoin 21, a website that I absolutely love. It was down for a little while and now it's back up again, and I love it. Thank you so much. Whoever makes that website, I would
Yes.
love to host you on my podcast. Oh gosh, is it now not up? Gosh, home.
Oh. Uh-oh.
It's no longer up.
Oh
Gosh, it's
no.
not working. Yeah, it's working. It's working. It's just slow.
Okay. All right.
By the way, if someone knows who owns that website, I would love to speak to him. He provided such a great value to the Bitcoin community just with that website. And here we can
Yeah.
go to where is it? Currency, stocks, metals, energy, primary benchmarks, agriculture. Oh gosh, do you see it where the real estate is?
I do not.
Did he delete the real estate part? He might.
Maybe.
Currencies, stocks, metals, energy, agriculture, orange juice, uh,
Yeah.
Bitcoin
Well,
treasury companies, even Bitcoin treasury companies. Oh, that's crazy. You see that all Bitcoin treasury companies except MicroStrategy are going down.
yeah.
Actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's a great
That's
one.
I actually I posted another Noster post about that yesterday, and I was thinking about e- everybody keeps talking about these Bitcoin strategy companies and whether or not they're going to be successful over the long term. And my thought was, if with Michael Saylor with strategy in particular, him not providing proof of reserves, I think is a potentially huge mistake on his part, because as soon as the or the first Bitcoin treasury company goes under because it we when we get to a point where all the Bitcoin is spoken for, and yet these companies are still saying they're buying Bitcoin, or they're not able to prove their reserves, um, and there's a quote unquote bank run on that treasury company. Any other company that's out there that doesn't have proof of reserves posted, I think is open for a bank run as well. And that is a contagion that could spread like wildfire. And I don't know if anybody is reallocating, or not. I forget the term that we always use in Bitcoin, but they're rehypothecating their their funds, saying they have more Bitcoin than they actually do, or whatever. They're using Bitcoin that came in first to pay the people their percentages or whatever they're guaranteed, their investment interest in that are coming in now. And if that happens, you could see Bitcoin treasury companies, especially again the ones that haven't posted the proof of reserves, really have a negative downside. And you know it's just food for thought. I don't, again, I'm a Bitcoin guy. I just want to have the Bitcoin in my cold storage wallet, and that's that. But yeah, anyway, that was a little bit of a tangent from the real estate side of things.
And
We can go back to that.
this proof of reserves has, I think, some major flaws that people don't think about. But in general, I love it and I'm a great fan of it. But the first flaw is it only shows one side of the balance sheet, and this not even fully. So you might have other fiat funds that you cannot really have a proof for, and you might also have another Bitcoin wallet. We now have this discussion with El Salvador that they are buying one Bitcoin a day, but then there's rumors that they're actually not buying any since February, just moving from one unknown wallet to a public wallet. So proof of reserve sounds usually better than it is. It is great. Like don't get me wrong, I'm not
Yep.
against proof of reserve, and I also think all the companies should do that. I'm just not fully sure if it's the end all be all solution for everything, because okay, if they have 100,000 Bitcoin, but how much debt do they have? Do they have other Bitcoin wallets? How much fiat reserves do they have? What are the assets of the company in general? Like they don't only have Bitcoin; they have other assets also that are valuable. Do they have some properties and all of that? And so there's just like a lot of open questions. But in general, like proof of reserve is better than non-proof of reserve, but it's also not an end all be all great solution that will like fix everything, even though I
Yeah.
think it should be the standard.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I'm fully in agreement with you. I think yeah. This is going to get even weirder now. I think with Bitcoin, you get to a point where you have to be 100% transparent. And when we're talking about these Bitcoin strategy companies, treasury companies, they're not 100% transparent. And on top of that, they are exchanging, right? We're exchanging fiat value for the Bitcoin, and it almost is like artificially inflating their Bitcoin value, because it's this self-fulfilling prophecy, or this flywheel effect, where the more money coming in makes you able to buy more Bitcoin. You are insulated to a degree from any increase in the fiat value of that Bitcoin, because you keep bringing more fiat into the system. And as long as that's working, that'll, I think that keeps flowing. But at some point we get onto a Bitcoin standard, right? We move away from fiat values for everything. And at that point, all of that comes crashing down. There is no Michael sit strategy, micro strategy that has, trillions and trillions of dollars worth of value, because all of that value is only the Bitcoin that company owns at that point. Now, that is probably decades away. I mean, nobody can tell the future. I certainly can't, but I do think there is an endpoint for all of these companies. And this goes for every company, all of these companies that are putting Bitcoin on their balance sheet, all of these companies that are, inserting Bitcoin into the value of their real estate fund, right? That Bitcoin value, yes, it's going up right now in fiat terms, but when fiat disappears, now that property is only valued in the Bitcoin that company holds. And that's where I you get to this point where you're only getting uh, value exchanged if you're providing something for somebody else and they value it enough to give you some of their Bitcoin. And at that point we will only be talking in Satoshis and maybe some smaller denomination of Bitcoin at that point. We may have to go add another decimal point or something at that point. But it when you play it all the way out, that's the end game, is everything is valued in Bitcoin. That means, again, that, you know, this idea with my property, for instance, right? It's valued right now in fiat terms at $600,000. In Bitcoin terms, I've got a half a Bitcoin that is in my reserve account right now. And I look at the value of that building only as that half a Bitcoin in reserves right now. That's it. And I try and think of it that way. And I try to think I need to bring in Bitcoin into that reserve account and get rid of the dollar value of that, because in whatever number of years, however long it takes, that is all anybody's going to care about is what is the Bitcoin value of that stuff. So I think it works in the same way with the treasury companies. I mean, it's Jeff Booth likes to talk about these. We have two different systems. You can't measure the value of things in Bitcoin terms by comparing it to the dollar value of it, right? We do that right now. A lot of us Bitcoiners do that as well. But really, if we are in the only free market that we've ever known and Bitcoin is valuing everything, we gotta we gotta all be starting to think more and more of it is just the Bitcoin value. It has nothing to do with that quote unquote fiat value that may have been there when the initial conditions of the system were set up. So did that make any sense?
There was a lot of senseful things in there. And
Okay,
you know
good.
what I thought about is, what if there's a point in history where all the Bitcoin combined that
You
have
froze up on me.
I froze. Oh, like I will be back.
Hey, there we go. All right.
But I was thinking about that. What if all the Bitcoin combined on the Bitcoin Treasury Company balance sheets are exceeding 21 million?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. When we will get to that point. We will get to the point where, all of these companies, the ETFs that are out there, there's too much Bitcoin. And I can't remember what podcast was it, yours, where there just within the last day or two, I was listening to a podcast where they were talking about two different, I think it was Samson Mao, maybe, or Tom Lee. I don't remember which one of them. We're talking about there being two prices for Bitcoin. There will be the price of the actual spot Bitcoin or Bitcoin in people's cold storage wallets. And then there will be the price of Bitcoin that you pay to BlackRock for their ETF, right? Because we will all know and see that they've got quote unquote more Bitcoin than what there is available, period. And so we may find ourselves running in a point where we've got regular Bitcoin value that all of us know, and then we've got these ETFs and these treasury companies that say no, the Bitcoin value is X, when really everybody that holds spot Bitcoin, that value when they exchange it on the base chain is Y. So we're certainly heading to that in that direction, and that will be I think a point of I don't want to call it like the next big Bitcoin split or hard fork, but I think there will come a time where people will have to go, huh, all right, BlackRock says Bitcoin's value is 150,000 a coin, but on this other layer over here, the base layer that everybody is exchanging Bitcoin at, it's 300,000, and that's because BlackRock says there's 40 million Bitcoin that they hold, but they really only have 200 or half of that on their in their wallets, in their possession.
Thank you for watching this video. This was only a snippet of the podcast. And if you want to watch the full episode and get all of the context of this episode, you can click right here or here. Oh, maybe also here.